We're on a movie set by a gravel pit in Vancouver, British Columbia, and it's all because of this man.
That's right, we're hanging out with actor funny man Leslie Nielsen on the set of his upcoming movie Camouflage.
Action.
But hey, even a working guy has to eat, right? So in the middle of this muddy field, we set up an elegant corner table for our esteemed guests so we could dine in style, with a meal catered by Leslie Nielsen's favorite Vancouver restaurant, Joe Forte's.
I've been in a couple movies. I never had anything like this for lunch when I was shooting a movie.
I've never had lunch in a place like this when I was shooting a movie.
You've shot movies all over the world. Tell me a little bit about on-location dining, the good, the bad, and the ugly of it.
I really, as far as the good, bad, and ugly, what can I say is that on location, every effort is made to make you feel comfortable.
Good.
And to make you feel better than even when you're at home. But there are always things, like we've had to do some work in very bad weather. And
yes.
We've been up here in this gravel pit shooting.
Although Leslie and I are dining in the lap of luxury today, the cast and crew don't normally eat in such high style. Rather, they help themselves between takes from this mobile kitchen on location just for the film. Making a major motion picture in the mountains of Vancouver is no easy task. Everything must be delivered on set. Hair and makeup, wardrobe, equipment, and even the food. Today, the staff at Joe Forte's set up a makeshift kitchen for our corner table, and the first course, a pepper-crusted tuna with lemon aioli.
Dig in, have some. Something I want to ask you that I think it must be fascinating at this stage of your life. Prior to 1980, you had about 1,600 dramatic parts. You're a graduate of the Actors Studio where you shared the stage with Brando and Paul Newman. You had many television series, a highly regarded, serious actor. 1980 comes along, you get the part in Airplane. An entire new generation of fans comes to Leslie Nielsen. Why did it take so long, after 30, 35 years in the business, for you to do comedy?
I was lacking in courage. I did not.
You didn't have the guts to do it? Really?
Did not have the
Honest?
guts. It's really true.
Wow.
Well, I've always loved comedy. I've always wanted to do comedy, but it had to be under the right conditions. I even talked to my agent there. I said, I like to do comedy. He said, what? I said, I have to do comedy. It's like I was afraid to even say the word because I wanted him to get some parts for me that were comedic.
Well,
and then along came Airplane.
Wow.
And I told him, I said, I'll work for nothing. Don't negotiate. But don't tell them I'll work for nothing.
That's how much you wanted.
That's how much because it was a comedy.
Leslie began his career playing more serious roles in movies like Tammy and the Bachelor and the cult hit science fiction movie Forbidden Planet. But Leslie tickled America's funny bone when he starred in the comedy classic Airplane, and he put us in stitches portraying the wacky detective Frank Drebin in the Naked Gun movies.
Will there ever be another Naked Gun movie? And we had Naked Gun, The Final Insult. We've had 3. We're going to see another one?
If you'd asked me this last week, I would have said...
If I was here last week, I would have asked you that.
Well, you should have asked me that.
But I wasn't here.
But I'm glad it's now, because I can honestly say, before I would have said, I really don't think so. But now I see a glimmering at the end of the tunnel. That there is a process. I told Pat Proft, I said, you can't let Naked Gun just disappear this way without just a whimper.
I've seen all 3.
I mean, yeah, well, they're all right.
I've seen all 3.
But if you're going to send it away,
let's
then
have 4.
do it with fanfare and Roman candles and rockets and so on.
How about this one? You were the captain of the ship, the Poseidon Adventure. You turned it over. You went under with that.
Well, I mean, that's debatable,
Leslie, I can see Shelley Winter still doing the swimming. Now, when you heard the Titanic was coming out, did you want to sink another ship? Did you want to be the captain of Titanic?
We had heavy feelers put out, and
Really?
Pat Proft wrote a first draft for in this case, a spoof of Titanic, and we went to the end of the first draft. They wanted to tie me up for the future to do a spoof on the Titanic.
Spoof of another disaster movie, right?
I just don't think the timing is right. The spoof time is over, and if you're going to do something that has to do with the Titanic, then you really don't try to spoof things. You just try to make it as funny as you can.
When Leslie isn't starring in feature films, he's making a series of golf videos and playing in celebrity golf tournaments.
You've got several videos on Bad Golf Made Easy and so forth. And I heard that the only reason at this stage of your life that you're continuing to work is so that you'll continue to get invited to celebrity golf tournaments.
It's true. It really is true. I wish to maintain my celebrity status in my work, enough so that I will be invited to golf tournaments.
All the critics talk about the Leslie Nielsen deadpan delivery. So I was thinking about this, the deadpan delivery. So I want to ask you something.
Thinking again,
I
are
was
you?
thinking, with this being your camera, take the line, all right, the food stays on the table until we find out who has the poison. And give us that line. All right, the food stays on the table until we find out who has the poison. Give it to us straight, like a straight detective, and then give it to us with that, whatever that comedic thing is that you add. Because what is it that you add comedically that makes that deadpan delivery work so well?
All right. The food stays on the table until we find out who's doing the poisoning. Is that the right line?
That's it. All right, so that's the straight line.
Yeah.
Now let's see the deadpan delivery. Now we're Frank Drebin's asking the same question.
All right. The food stays on the table until we find out who's doing the poisoning. Were they too much alike?
No, that's what. Well, as long as we're in the mood, why don't we have every talk show host? I've said this 1,000 times. We'll be back right after this. Stay with us. Have Frank tell everybody to stay with us.
Won't you stay with us? Come on back, have a fuel lounge with us, and we'll be happy to eat in front of you.
We're on the set
no,
of
I
Leslie
understand,
Nielsen's
of course,
upcoming
yeah.
movie and enjoying a meal catered by one of Vancouver's top seafood spots, Joe Forte's. Now, normally the restaurant's food is served here at this impressive space in downtown Vancouver with its own rooftop patio and outdoor herb garden, where diners can enjoy dishes like tiger prawn salad with orange vinaigrette or fresh oysters from their extensive raw bar.
Why did you pick Joe Forte's?
Oh, well,
Of all the
because-
places you could be.
Well, first of all, I was delighted to be asked, number one. Number two, I've eaten a number of times at Joe Forte's, and I find that their food, and their seafood in particular, is just wonderful.
You're a seafood guy? More than
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
steak and potatoes type?
Yeah, very much. I am now, anyway. Much more so. Any kind of seafood, and I like chicken too.
How
And,
about a nice big steak? Does it still have an allure
love
to
it,
you?
I love it, I
Does it have
love
an
it.
allure to you? Huh?
I love a good ribeye steak.
No steak today, but a seafood dish from Joe Forte's of zipperback shrimp with Nova Scotia lobster. The restaurant's executive chef, Brian Folk, showed us how our entree was created. He starts by grilling the shrimp.
I'm going to sprinkle them with a little bit of fresh herb, rosemary, thyme, parsley, and basil, and squeeze some juice on it right before they're finished.
Then he prepares a steamed lobster by removing the meat from its shell.
With a sharp knife, insert it, twist it, and crack the shell. Break it gently, and the meat should just slip right out.
The accompaniment? A timbal, or mold, created out of spinach stuffed with a potato, leek, and gooseberry hash.
I close the spinach off on top. Put it into a little pan with a little water in the bottom and into the oven for 4 minutes.
The sauce for the dish is made from a red wine lobster stock reduction.
When the stock comes to the boil, I add butter and a Monte au beurre, which is emulsifying the butter into the stock.
To plate the dish, a Reggiano cheese wafer is placed on top of the timbal and then the shrimp and lobster. Brian adds some blanched vegetables and dresses the dish with the red wine beurre blanc. The final garnishes include chives, a gooseberry, lemon wedges, and fresh pineapple sage.
Of lemon.
Do you do a lot of cooking? If I came for dinner, would you make me dinner or would we order out?
No, I would come up with something, if you want steak. It would have to be very simple. I'm great at leftovers. I like to make
Eating
leftovers.
them?
I make leftovers first, on Wednesday, so I can have a dinner on Thursday.
What's your best dish? Give me your best shot. If you
Soup, chicken soup.
had chicken soup?
And
give,
fat, yeah.
give me one restaurant pick in L.A.
My one restaurant pick in LA would be Mirabelle's, which is down on Sunset. It's, I think, has the loveliest ambiance of any restaurant almost anywhere. And the food is well priced, evenly, doesn't break your wallet, and it's excellent.
I recommend ambiance.
The ambiance. Speaking, are the ducks coming in yet? Do you hear them? Quack, 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 quack.
No ducks, but a whoopee cushion that Leslie's been carrying with him for more than 25 years.
What's the biggest laugh you ever got? The most inappropriate situation where you ever pulled that, or ever used the whoopee cushion?
Well, the funniest, the elevator is the playground for the whoopee cushion because everybody is standing there and it's deathly quiet. And at the Desert Inn in Vegas in the early days, they had all of their eating places on the mezzanine, and they had one elevator that went up and down like this, just up one floor and down. And so we went to eat, and we came back to get on this glass elevator, and there were already two couples on the elevator. And we could see, at least I could tell, the look on their face. They had gone to the gourmet restaurant and had the finest meal of their lives. And as the doors are coming together like this, these glass doors, I turned to my friend and I said, Bob, is this an express elevator? And he says, I don't know, Leslie. I said, oh boy, push that button or push that button there. And the guy in the back, he says, I'll open the doors. And he reached and he pulled the doors open because the elevator had stuck a foot above the floor and nobody could get out.
And they're just waiting
And
for
they
the
jumped down
aroma.
and ran.
They jumped and ran.
Yeah, they jumped down and ran.
Next course, dessert, a plum and mascarpone cheese tart.
That sounds like an incantation.
Plum
and mascarpone.
cheese tart.
Nothing happened.
Well, we eat it then.
Oh, okay.
If it had hovered above the plate.
But doesn't it really look terrific?
It does. It truly does. Is there any food, Leslie, that is totally irresistible for you? You can't keep it in the house?
Well, yeah.
What?
Yeah, I love blue cheese.
You love it too much, huh?
I do. I mean, if I have it, it's very important for me to make sure that I get rid of it as soon as possible because otherwise I might eat all of it.
So if I send you a couple pounds of blue cheese to thank you for this.
Oh, no, don't do
Isn't
that
that a
to
good-
me. Gorgonzola. I love gorgonzola. But those are the foods I have a taste for. I find them irresistible.
What would you like to drink with a nice gorgonzola or blue cheese?
I'm not interested. I just want to eat the cheese.
If you could be anywhere in the world tonight, off the set of Camouflage, for a fantasy dinner, where would you love to be tonight? Anywhere in the world for dinner.
It's a little personal.
Well, you subject yourself to these tough
To
personal
be
questions.
anywhere in the world for a fantasy dinner?
Yeah.
Boy, oh boy, you're really a fantasy man, aren't you? I'd like to go to China. That would be a fantasy place to go, to have some of those food. I know nothing about Chinese cooking to speak of, but to go and do that. You'll probably be more interested in finding out who I'd like to go with.
Yeah, who would you like to go with?
My wife.
Now let's suppose we get the Naked Gun series. It comes back. We get the fourth. Some other really good movies, more comedy and serious acting accolades. 10 years go by, and we meet again. What would you like to be able to say about the 10 years of our lives, of your life that's passed?
That as much as I have been letting go of things today, I have learned to let go of them even more.
What do you mean by that?
Well, there are so many things that we think are so terribly important in our lives, and I find as I've gone through that those things that I thought were so incredibly important were never that important. That's one of the reasons I began playing golf, because I really found out that I had nothing important to do. I had not been doing anything important, nor did I expect to do anything important. So I took up golf. I wasn't playing because I thought I had important things to do.
They weren't important.
They weren't important. So.
Well, you look great. You appear to have no stress in your life. Is this
What do you
accurate?
mean by that?
I'm wrong about that. By the way, I like this. I like the
Are you
crew.
touching my hair?
I like the crew.
Good God, who is this man?
We're just about finished. I think we did the show.
I thought this was a rehearsal.
Well, we can do it again. We have to eat again if we do that. You want to eat again?
It couldn't hurt.
All right. Take two.